The palace floated above the neon-lit capital, its crystalline towers bending light from 3 distant suns. Inside the grand hall, armored drones hovered silently, while holographic banners projected the Empire's sigil across the vaulted ceiling. Human guards stood in rigid formation along the glowing pathways, their visors reflecting the purple shimmer of the chamber. Among them stood Aaron, a guard whose patience had worn thin like a cracked shield. Orders had been repeated all morning, warnings about discipline and obedience echoing through his common plant. When a junior officer barked at him for shifting his stance, Aaron muttered, "I'm not a statue. If they want art, they can scan a sculpture." The comment slipped through his helmet speakers. 2 guards beside him froze, then quickly disguised their coughs as mechanical signal checks. Even the surveillance drones adjusted their lenses toward him. High above, behind layers of transparent energy barriers, the throne platform activated. Light spiraled upward, and silence dropped over the hall like a compressed vacuum field. Aaron felt the shift before he saw the figure emerging from the glow. The alien queen descended slowly along a levitating platform. She appeared human in form but carried features that separated her from any terrestrial lineage. Her skin shimmered faintly as if stars swam beneath it. Long ears curved elegantly from the sides of her head, sensitive to the smallest vibration. Her eyes reflected the chamber's energy grids, calculating and observing at the same time. Her gaze scanned the ranks of guards, then paused. It locked onto Aaron. He realized it instantly. "Great," he whispered under his breath. "Of all the people in the galaxy." The queen tilted her head slightly. Her long ears twitched, picking up his whispered frustration through enhanced audio sensors. She raised one hand, and the holographic projections around her flickered. "Why does the human at Sector 3 radiate agitation?" Her voice resonated through the chamber, amplified by invisible speakers embedded in the walls. Every guard's helmet turned toward Aaron. Aaron straightened. He could have remained silent, but something inside him, anger mixed with stubborn pride, pushed him forward. "Because," he replied loudly, "standing still while being watched like experimental lab specimens gets old." A ripple of shock passed through the formation. One drone emitted a confused beep. The queen's lips curved, not in anger but in intrigue. "You compare yourself to specimens." "Feels accurate sometimes," Aaron shot back. "Except the specimens probably get better break schedules." A few guards failed to suppress brief laughter before forcing their posture back into rigid discipline. The queen's ears fluttered again, reacting to the unexpected humor. She descended further until her platform hovered just above the floor. From close distance, her presence felt overwhelming, like standing near a living core reactor. "You speak with defiance," she said. "Defiance is often punished in my court." "Good thing I'm not from your court," Aaron replied, silence stretched. He expected guards to step forward, weapons raised, ready to drag him away. His muscles tightened instinctively, preparing for restraint fields or energy shackles. Instead, the queen walked closer. Her long ears angled forward as if analyzing not just his words but the emotion behind them. "Your anger is not random," she observed. "It is structured, directed." "Observation mode activated," Aaron muttered. She stopped a few steps away. "Explain." He hesitated for half a heartbeat, then answered honestly. "We follow your laws, we protect your palace, but sometimes it feels like decisions are made far above us without anyone asking what we think." Another guard whispered, "He's really doing this." The queen heard it. Her eyes shifted briefly toward the whispering guard. "Is he incorrect?" The guard swallowed. "No, your majesty." A faint smile appeared on her face. It was subtle, almost playful. "Your species assumes confrontation leads to punishment," she said to Aaron. "Yet your confrontation reveals information." Aaron shrugged. "Information usually doesn't get people promoted." "Sometimes," she replied, "it changes systems." Her ears moved again, reacting to the energy fluctuations in the hall. She turned toward her advisors, who looked visibly alarmed. "This human's frustration reflects more than personal grievance," she announced. "It reflects gaps in communication between ruler and protector." Aaron blinked. "Wait, is this a performance review?" A suppressed laugh escaped one of the royal engineers. The Queen looked back at him. "Humor is your defense mechanism, and sarcasm is my power armor," he answered. For the first time, the tension in the chamber did not feel like a blade ready to strike. It felt like a bridge forming between opposing sides, fragile but real. The Queen studied him longer now, not as a threat, but as a variable she had not predicted. "Human guard Aaron," she said calmly, "remain where you stand." He stiffened. "That sounds like the start of either a reward or an arrest." Her smile deepened slightly. "Perhaps," she replied, "it is the start of a different arrangement." The palace watched in stunned silence as authority and defiance stood face to face, neither collapsing, both shifting. And no one in the hall could yet understand that this single exchange had already begun rewriting power itself. The throne chamber remained silent after the Queen's command. Energy shields shimmered faintly around the platform, projecting soft light across the marble-like floor infused with quantum circuitry. Aaron stood frozen in place, unsure whether staying still meant safety or suspicion. The Queen did not return to her seat. Instead, she stepped closer to him, long ears subtly rotating as they scanned the surrounding frequencies. Her personal interface displayed holographic data only she could see, biometric readings, stress signals, pulse fluctuations. Aaron noticed the faint glow reflecting in her eyes. "You are nervous," she observed. "Of course I am," he replied. "You just told me to remain where I stand. In my experience, that usually comes with dramatic consequences." One of the royal drones floated near him and emitted a soft scanning beam. Aaron glanced at it. "If that thing starts judging my posture, I want a lawyer." The drone beeped as if processing the joke. The Queen tilted her head again, intrigued by his resistance to fear. She gestured lightly, and the drone stopped scanning. "Tell me," she said, "if authority frustrates you, why do you continue serving?" Aaron hesitated. The question hit deeper than expected. Around them, guards listened carefully, pretending not to. "Because," he answered slowly, "this place is complicated. Humans, your people, shared systems. We're all tangled together. If I quit, nothing improves." A faint ripple moved through her ears. She understood loyalty. She understood duty. But his answer carried something different: choice. "Your logic implies reform from within," she said. "Or stubborn refusal to give up," he corrected. She studied him again, then suddenly stepped even closer, reducing the distance between ruler and guard to mere centimeters. The move startled the nearby officers. Aaron instinctively tightened his grip on his plasma baton. "Relax," she said calmly. "If I intended harm, you would already be restrained by the palace defense grid." "Comforting," he muttered. "I love when threats are theoretical." A small smile crossed her face again. She raised one hand, activating a holographic projection between them. The image displayed security data, resource allocations, patrol routes, energy consumption patterns across sectors of the empire. "Look," she said, pointing at several highlighted sections. "These areas experience frequent protocol conflicts between human units and my own elite guards." Aaron leaned closer despite himself. "So you're saying the system is messy?" "I am saying it is incomplete." He glanced at the data. "And you want me to fix it?" "Not alone." Her long ears flicked slightly as she expanded the hologram. Additional data streams poured in, revealing communication gaps between command structures. The information felt heavy, almost like she was exposing vulnerabilities intentionally. One of the advisors whispered, "Your Majesty," revealing internal weaknesses to a human. She cut him off with a subtle glance. "Silence. Transparency builds stability." Aaron looked surprised. "You trust me with that?" "Trust is not granted blindly," she replied. "It is tested." He laughed softly. "Great, so I'm part of a test now." "Precisely." The queen turned away briefly and addressed the assembled guards. This human demonstrated defiance without betrayal. He questioned authority without sabotage. That combination is rare. Several guards exchanged confused looks. One muttered quietly, "Does that mean we can complain too?" Another responded, "Careful, you might get promoted." Aaron heard it and chuckled. The queen heard it as well, her ears tilted toward the humor. "Your soldiers attempt levity to reduce anxiety," she observed. "It works sometimes," Aaron said, "especially when things feel like they're about to explode." As if on cue, a distant alarm pulse echoed through the upper layers of the palace. Red lights flashed across the ceiling grids. Everyone turned sharply. Aaron frowned. "Tell me that's not my fault." A tactical display activated near the throne, showing an energy fluctuation in one of the outer defense shields. The queen's expression shifted into focused authority. External interference detected. Aaron stepped forward immediately. "Attack." Unknown signature. He activated his visor's analysis mode. Data streamed across his view. "Signal pattern doesn't match your military tech." "Nor human origin," she confirmed. The guards tightened formation around the throne. Aaron glanced at the queen. "See, this is what happens when we argue. The galaxy gets jealous." She looked at him briefly, and despite the crisis, she responded, "Your humor persists during danger." Force of habit. The shield tremor intensified. Energy rippled through the dome, protecting the palace. The queen raised both hands, activating direct control over the defense grid. Her long ears extended slightly, enhancing her sensory perception as she synchronized with the system. "Stay close," she instructed Aaron. "Is that an order or a survival recommendation?" "Both." He moved beside her, weapon ready. As the queen stabilized the shield, her voice remained calm despite the external threat. "If this interference is a signal of weakness, then our response will determine perception." Aaron nodded. "Then let's respond loud." She glanced at him, and for a brief moment authority and alliance aligned. The shield stabilized. The alarm subsided. Silence returned to the palace, but now it felt different. The queen turned to Aaron once more. "Your presence during this event was not accidental." He raised an eyebrow. "Are you implying I caused it?" "No." Her eyes studied him carefully. "Perhaps," she said softly, "you were meant to be present when change begins." Aaron smirked. "If change involves paperwork, I'm resigning." Her ears flicked in amusement. The tension that had started as confrontation had now shifted into something more complex, shared responsibility under threat. And neither ruler nor guard realized yet that the disturbance outside had only been the first test. The shield stabilization lights slowly faded, leaving the palace bathed in calm blue glow again. Aaron lowered his weapon but kept his senses alert. The queen stood beside him, her long ears still angled outward as if listening for echoes of the interference that had just shaken the fortress. "External signal source traced?" Aaron asked. Her holographic interface unfolded around her like floating shards of light. "Partial trace. The disturbance originated beyond our orbital perimeter." "Great," he said. "So someone is testing your security from outside. That usually means they're curious or planning trouble." "Or both," she replied. One of the royal engineers hurried forward with a portable quantum console. "Your Majesty," the signal contained encrypted fragments. "It attempted to probe our defense algorithms." Aaron leaned closer to the display. "A hacker." "More advanced than a simple hacker," the engineer answered nervously. "It adapted when the shield countermeasures activated." Aaron whistled softly. "So it learns." The queen observed the data stream carefully. Her ears shifted as new frequencies appeared on the screen. "This is not random. The code structure resembles an old imperial surveillance pattern modified." Aaron glanced at her. "Meaning?" "Meaning someone who understands our technology is testing us." He folded his arms. "Inside job." The engineer stiffened at the suggestion. The queen raised a hand slightly. "Do not rush to accusations." Aaron smirked. I wasn't accusing anyone. I was asking dramatically. A faint smile touched her lips again despite the crisis. Suddenly, a second alert appeared. The holographic map zoomed out, showing a faint object drifting beyond the upper atmosphere, a small metallic structure emitting intermittent pulses. Aaron's visor enhanced the image. That wasn't there before. No, the Queen confirmed. It materialized after the signal failed. Convenient. The object unfolded in space like a mechanical flower, revealing antenna-like structures and energy emitters. Aaron muttered, "Okay, that's not subtle." The Queen extended control to the orbital defense satellites. "Prepare interception protocols." One of the guards whispered, "Should we evacuate?" Aaron turned his head toward the guard. "Evacuate where?" "Into another building that might also get scanned." The guard blinked. "Fair point," the guard replied quietly. The Queen issued commands through neural linkage to the palace systems. Weapon platforms rotated toward the unknown object in orbit. "Wait," Aaron said suddenly. She looked at him. "What?" "If it wanted to destroy us, it would have fired already." She paused. "You suggest communication." "Maybe." The Queen considered it for a moment. Her long ears tilted forward, absorbing telemetry from the object. "It is transmitting again," she said. The hologram projected a new signal pattern. Instead of aggressive disruption, the frequency stabilized into something structured. Aaron narrowed his eyes. "That looks like a handshake protocol." "An attempt at contact," she confirmed. The engineers looked shocked. The Queen stepped closer to the main console. "Allow limited channel access." "Your Majesty," one advisor protested. "It could be infiltration." "Or diplomacy," she responded calmly. Aaron crossed his arms. "You trust it." She glanced at him. "Trust, like authority, must sometimes extend before certainty." He exhaled. "You really like philosophical speeches during potential invasions." "It keeps the court attentive." He laughed lightly. "Point taken." The Queen initiated a controlled connection to the object. A burst of data streamed into the chamber. Holographic symbols translated automatically into readable text. The message appeared. "We observe the shift in power within your palace." Aaron frowned. "That sounds creepy." The Queen continued reading. "The human goddess influence on your decision-making has altered internal stability calculations." Aaron blinked. "Wait, they're analyzing me." "Apparently." He pointed at himself. "I'm not a political variable." The system responded with another line. "Your emotional response patterns are unexpected." Aaron groaned. "Even aliens judge my feelings now." The Queen's ears flicked in what almost looked like amusement. The message continued. "We propose observation alliance. Exchange data. Monitor mutual development." Silence filled the chamber. One guard whispered, "So, they want partnership." Aaron looked at the Queen. "Or surveillance disguised as friendship." She studied the proposal carefully. "It is risky." "Everything around here is risky," Aaron replied. "But ignoring them might make them assume we fear contact." She nodded slowly. "Then we respond." She turned toward the transmission console and dictated a reply. "This domain is under our control. Observation is accepted under strict boundaries." Aaron smirked. "You sound like you're negotiating a rental agreement." "Power must be defined clearly," she answered. She added one final line to the message. "The human guard stays as part of our decision core." Aaron's eyes widened. "Excuse me." She glanced at him calmly. "You influence perception. Therefore, you are relevant to stability calculations. So I'm now officially a data point." "You are more than that." The transmission was sent. The orbital structure retracted its antennae slowly, absorbing the response. The threat did not disappear, but it shifted into something structured and controlled. The Queen deactivated the combat readiness mode and turned to Aaron. "Today revealed a new force beyond our borders." He nodded, "and it revealed that people, human or alien, react differently when watched." She stepped closer again. "Your defiance," she said quietly, may have drawn attention from that external intelligence. He raised an eyebrow, so my sarcasm triggered interstellar curiosity. Possibly. He laughed. Great, I always wanted cosmic fame. Her long ears tilted slightly. Be careful, she said. Fame attracts both allies and adversaries. The orbital structure that had sent the message remained visible on the palace projection screens, its metallic frame orbiting slowly like an artificial moon. Aaron stood beside the Queen as engineers monitored its signal. The object transmitted quiet data pulses now, no aggression, only observation. It's still watching, one technician reported. Aaron crossed his arms. Let it watch, maybe it's bored. The Queen glanced at him. You assume it possesses emotions similar to yours. Everything gets bored eventually, he replied, even machines. As if offended by the statement, the orbiting structure emitted a brief surge of light. Alarms blinked for a second before stabilizing. Aaron raised an eyebrow. See, it reacted. The Queen's long ears shifted as she analyzed the surge. It adjusted its energy output. It is responding to our conversation. Aaron leaned toward the hologram. Great, so now we have an interstellar listener who reacts to sarcasm. A faint line of text appeared across the projection. We perceive internal strategic shift. Aaron laughed. It's narrating us. The Queen approached the console and transmitted a controlled response. Define perception. The object paused. Then new symbols appeared. We detect power reconfiguration between human guard and ruling authority. Aaron pointed at the message. They make it sound like I took over. The Queen folded her arms gracefully. You did not take over. Good. You influenced. He sighed. That sounds worse. Her lips curved slightly. The engineers exchanged confused glances as the object sent another packet of data. A three-dimensional projection unfolded, showing a simulation of the palace future under various scenarios: peaceful cooperation, hostile invasion, internal rebellion. Aaron watched carefully. They ran predictions. Yes, the Queen answered. Do we survive? She studied the simulation. In most models, yes, but outcomes improve when cooperation between species increases. Aaron squinted at the projection. So basically, they're saying teamwork wins. Simplified, she said, but accurate. Suddenly, the simulation shifted. It highlighted Aaron's position in glowing blue, marking him as a variable that significantly altered projected stability. He stared at it. Why am I glowing? Because your decisions impact diplomatic balance. He turned to her slowly. You programmed that, didn't you? She shook her head. The external system calculated it independently. Aaron groaned. Fantastic. I wanted a quiet career. Instead, I'm now labeled as critical anomaly. One guard chuckled softly. Congratulations, the guard said. That sounds like promotion language. Aaron pointed at him. Don't encourage this. The Queen issued a command to expand communication with the orbital structure. Send them a counter-simulation, she ordered. The engineers hesitated. Based on what parameters? She looked at Aaron. Include the human guard's perspective. Aaron blinked. Excuse me. You understand both systems, human hierarchy and our governance. Your input may provide accuracy. He rubbed his forehead. So now I'm co-authoring alien diplomacy software. Precisely. He sighed dramatically. Do I get royalties? She tilted her head. Explain royalties. Never mind. He stepped toward the console and began adjusting simulation inputs himself. He marked potential reforms in defense coordination, better communication between species units, and flexible command responses. The Queen watched closely. You approach governance like battlefield strategy. Same difference sometimes. The system processed his modifications and transmitted them upward to the orbital object. Moments passed. Then the object responded with a burst of synchronized light patterns. Approval. Data integrated. Aaron blinked. They approved it. Yes, the Queen confirmed. He stared at the glowing structure. So they accept my changes. They consider them efficient. He exhaled. Great, I've officially impressed a giant space machine. The Queen stepped closer to him. You underestimate your influence. Or overestimate it, he replied. Her ears moved slightly, detecting subtle fluctuations in his heartbeat. You doubt your position. Because positions like mine usually don't last. She studied him carefully. Stability does not require permanence, she said. It requires adaptability. He smirked. That sounds like leadership propaganda. It is strategic truth. Suddenly, the orbital object shifted again. Instead of remaining distant, it projected a smaller craft detaching from its structure. Aaron narrowed his eyes. Is that coming here? Yes, the Queen replied. The craft descended through the atmosphere, glowing as it pierced the sky. Alarm systems activated briefly before identifying it as connected to the earlier signal. Aaron adjusted his weapon. Visitors. Representatives. He glanced at her. You mean they're coming to inspect us? Yes. He groaned. I hate surprise audits. The craft landed in an open landing platform outside the palace dome. Energy vapor dissipated as a door unfolded. Guards formed a perimeter. Aaron positioned himself near the Queen. Ready? He asked. She nodded. The craft emitted soft mechanical sounds before a humanoid figure stepped out. Its body appeared synthetic yet fluid, its surface shifting with reflective patterns. Its eyes glowed softly. It scanned the surroundings and then locked onto Aaron. The entity spoke in a neutral tone. You are the variable. Aaron pointed at himself. Can we stop calling me that? The Queen responded before he could continue. He is more than a variable. The entity tilted its head. Clarify. Aaron looked at the Queen. She stepped forward slightly. He is an ally. The entity processed the statement. Alliance accepted for observation phase. Aaron whispered, does everything in this galaxy start with observation phase? The entity's sensors emitted a brief pulse that scanned both of them. You represent unexpected synergy. Aaron shrugged. We argue a lot. The Queen added calmly, it improves decision quality. The entity remained still for several seconds. Then it transmitted its final assessment. Continued monitoring recommended. The craft began powering up again. Aaron watched it prepare to depart. Is that it? They land, call me unpredictable, then leave. The Queen turned to him. They have gathered sufficient data for now. He sighed, so I'm officially under cosmic surveillance. She looked at him with quiet seriousness. You are officially part of a larger equation. He smirked. That still sounds like math punishment. The craft lifted off and returned to orbit. The palace lights stabilized once more. The Queen stood beside him as silence settled after the encounter. This changes our position, she said. Yeah, Aaron replied. Now we know someone powerful is watching. She glanced at him, and they are watching you closely. He chuckled. Good thing I look good under pressure. Her long ears tilted slightly. Confidence is beneficial. He smiled, so is humor. Above them, the orbiting structure resumed quiet observation. And this time, it observed not just a kingdom, but the unlikely partnership forming at its core. The orbital observers had remained silent for several cycles, but their presence still hovered above the planet like a quiet judgment. Inside the palace, systems that once screamed warnings now operated under stable protocols. Aaron stood beside the Queen in the central command chamber, watching data streams flow calmly across the holographic panels. They stopped probing, an engineer reported. For now, another added cautiously. Aaron stretched his shoulders. So does that mean the cosmic audit is over? The Queen glanced at him. They have concluded preliminary evaluation. They now assess long-term adaptation. Translation. They're waiting to see what we do next. Aaron smirked, no pressure. Her long ears rotated slightly as she accessed the linked network between the palace and the orbital structure. The external intelligence no longer transmitted demands, only observation markers. It had accepted the alliance. But acceptance did not equal trust. The Queen turned to her council and declared, We will formalize cooperation with the external entity under controlled data exchange. Murmurs filled the room. Aaron stepped forward. And humans. She looked at him directly. Humans will be represented in this Alliance Council. He blinked. You're giving them seats at the table. You are not a subject. You are a participant. A guard whispered. He really turned anger into diplomacy. Aaron heard it and rolled his eyes. Don't make it sound like I planned this. The Queen continued. The human guard will act as liaison between species security forces. Aaron froze. Liaison. Yes. Does that come with a uniform upgrade? She responded calmly. It comes with responsibility. He exhaled slowly. Great. I complained about paperwork and now I get interstellar paperwork. Her lips curved slightly. You influence system reform. You earned the position. The council projected the new structure of governance. Joint oversight teams, shared defense coordination, integrated communication protocols. The reforms incorporated Aaron's modifications from earlier simulations. He stared at the projection. It actually worked. It worked because you challenged assumptions, she replied. He looked at her. And you listened. Her ears tilted gently. Leadership requires listening to variables. He laughed softly. There you go again. The orbital entity sent a final message to the Palace network. Stability index improved. Recommend continued human-alien collaboration. Aaron pointed at the message. See, even the space machine approves. The Queen transmitted acknowledgement. Suddenly, the chamber lights shifted as another alert appeared, but this one was different. A small transmission request came from Earth's command network. Aaron's visor displayed the source. He frowned. That's my home authority. The Queen turned toward him. They request a status report. He hesitated. For me. Yes. He stared at the holographic connection. For a moment, memories of command structures, rigid chains of authority, and frustration resurfaced. He had once followed orders without question. Now he stood beside a ruler who valued dialogue over command. Answer it, she said gently. He activated the channel. The projection displayed a human commander. The commander studied Aaron carefully. You're listed as a key diplomatic variable now. Aaron scratched the back of his neck. Yeah, funny how career paths change. The commander continued. We've received data confirming the new alliance structure. Explain your involvement. Aaron glanced briefly at the Queen. She nodded once. He faced the transmission. I pushed for transparency, he said. I challenged how things were done. The alien leadership responded. Now we share control instead of suspicion. Silence followed on the human side. Then the commander spoke. Unexpected but effective, continue. The channel closed. Aaron exhaled. The Queen watched him carefully. Your origin authority accepts the transition. He shrugged. They trust results. She stepped closer. And do you trust this new role? He looked around the chamber. The integrated systems. The guards who no longer stared at him as a threat. The Queen who stood beside him not as an enemy but as a partner. He considered the question. Yeah, he said slowly, I do. She studied his expression. Your anger has transformed. He smiled. It's still there, I just aim it better. Her long ears tilted in what almost resembled approval. The orbital entity transmitted one final symbolic image, two systems intersecting, forming a shared core. Approved for continued evolution. Aaron laughed. They make it sound like we're upgrading a software patch. Civilizations are similar, the Queen replied. He turned to her. Remember when I was just an angry guard complaining about shifts? Yes, feels like that was ages ago. It was the beginning. He nodded. The palace doors opened to reveal the city skyline glowing under controlled atmospheric shields. Humans and aliens moved through the streets together, some still cautious, some curious,